pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life goes slow, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me. Just hold me.
After a fun night out last week at Langley Speedway, we come to a track that has changed names quite a bit over these last couple of years, but the actual track surface and the racing has remained the same since the very beginning. We're here at Lucas Oil Raceway, here for round number 8 and the official closing of the first half of the season for the Super Late Model AI Series right here on ESBN. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. As always, my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso. Tony, an incredible run last week at Langley. Had a lot of fun. Saw our first cautions of the season. Saw our first driver go from pole to win on the year here at Lucas Oil Raceway, O'Reilly Raceway Park, Indianapolis Raceway Park, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be a completely different race from what we've seen this season because of the line that these guys are going to have to run.
Yeah, absolutely. This track is known as a rim ride course. You've got to be less than a car width off that outside retaining wall to really get the speed around this place. And anybody that tries to run the bottom feeder line here tonight, they're going to get walked, plain and simple.
It is not going to go well for those guys, as we will now take a look at the points. And Tony, I was telling you before we went live that remember how we were talking about a 17-point difference between first and second last week?
Yeah, how that worked.
Yeah, well, now it's a 17-point difference between first and seventh, as Tanner Reif has a 1-point lead over Sean Woodside, who has a 1-point lead over Walt Clow, who has a 5-point lead over Corey Heim, who's got a 2-point lead over Jake Drew, who's 4 points ahead of Kraus, who's 3 points ahead of Breedinger, who's 4 points ahead of Griffith. It closed right back up in a hurry after last week at Langley, did it not?
Very much so. And, we saw some fireworks happen last week. The first time that the yellow flag ever had to be thrown in a super late model AI series race. And I don't think either one of us would have gotten a smile off our face when that happened the first time if you had told us our butts were on fire and our heads was about to catch.
Absolutely. If you want to just take a look at your messages real quick, Tony. Right now, Tanner Reif, as we sit right now, not only has the points lead, but is now sitting in the grass in turn 3 after apparently making contact with the outside wall. There he goes. Now he's rolling. See all the damage on the right front of his car. He currently, again, not only the points leader, but
suspension's not attached.
Yeah.
I don't think he realizes it.
Oh, there he goes.
There he goes.
Just about to get back to look at that right front corner. But Mark Wirtz right now currently sitting second in the timing and scoring pylon. Is a little bit of contact between Corey Heim and Wayne Stokes. Jake Drew right there as well. So is Derek Griffith. These guys are going to be running very, very close, just like this, all race long. And on that outside line as well, Tony, as you had mentioned, that's where you're going to make the time, because this is one of those places that has that little bit of progressive banking.
It does. It was actually this place, IRP, home of the big go every Labor Day weekend for drag racing fans. This oval track was progressively banked before progressive banking was cool.
Absolutely. You could kind of tell it there a little bit in these corners. There's a flat racetrack, only a kilometer long, 0.68 miles to be exact, as we go into our rapid fire qualifying session. We'll be getting done here with practice in just a moment, but we're seeing already here in practice these guys are going to be in very, very close quarters with each other all night long, and you can already see that outside line getting rubbered in.
Oh, very much so. And the one thing I've taken away from the hot lap session these guys just came to an end with, these guys aren't afraid to lean on each other here, and that's not a bad thing.
No, not a bad thing for us at all, as we are getting out onto the track right now. Trevor Huddleston, as is customary, is the first driver out. Everybody is on track right now. Over these last couple of weeks, we've had a couple of stragglers that'll wait a little bit until the first runs were in. Not this week. Everybody's here and raring to go this week.
Except for that Marchese guy.
Yeah.
Don't look behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly. Trevor Huddleston. As Tony breaks the fourth wall. Mark Wirtz sets the fastest time in qualifying thus far. Now, Wirtz does have a victory on the season.
He does at that, but so does Moore, and Moore is currently sitting second quick, so...
Well, actually, no, never mind. It's Wayne Stokes who's going to take pole in the number 92. Very good run out of that number 92 machine.
Well, after they fired the entire pit crew a couple races ago, that team has started to turn the corner.
Now, he is done with his qualifying times. Everybody is done with their qualifying times, but the 92 for the first time this season on pole with a time of a 21.13. Dominic Lopez second, one of his better qualifying attempts of the season. Quite a nice little change. See different guys up here at the front now.
Yeah, absolutely. Huddleston starting in the top 10. Herzog's up there. Roca's up in the top 10. Majeski starting 10th. Hey, that's his best start of the season so far.
Yep, it is. And unfortunately, as Carson Kvapil comes in, he will be starting stone dead last, unfortunately, for this race tonight. As we will...
Carson not known as an outside line specialist.
Yeah. And it's certainly showing. As we will now head on over into the race session and take a look at the starting grid here for tonight's race. Starting on pole with a pole time of 21.127, Wayne Stokes for Shamrock Motorsports, with Dominic Lopez sitting outside on the front row. Jeremy Dawson, Josh Berry will make up row 2. Corey Heim and Trevor Huddleston will seat in row 3. Row 4 goes to Austin Herzog and Mark Wirtz. Row 5 will see Blaine Roca and Ty Majeski. Cole Moore and John Moore will make up row number 6. Row 7 goes to Andy Allen and Walt Clow. Jake Drew and Colby Howard will make up row number 8.
Last week's winner, Derek Kraus, is going to be joined with last week's third place contender, Eddie MacDonald, in row number 9. Row 10 sees Derek Griffith and Sean Woodside. Tanner Reif and Sammy Smith going to roll it off in row number 11. Row 12 sees Parker Traves and Gio Selzy. Austin Maynard and Tony Breeding are going to roll off in row number 13. Starting shotgun on the field, as you had mentioned, that Cook Finley Racing 35 of Carson Kvapil.
And notice everybody is within 1/10 of the pole time except for Carson Kvapil. He's the only one outside of 1/10 from the pole from 1st to 27th. That is insane.
That's scary. That is almost terrifying. And I dare say that we saw our first handful of cautions last week. We've got a good shot at seeing more of the same this week.
And it's not because the track isn't wide enough. It's a lot bigger than Langley last week, and it's about the same width. It's just the line that you need to run around here in order to be fast. We saw it in practice already. Guys getting very, very close to each other and making contact with each other.
You get so incredibly loose on that low side that you can't afford to get caught down there.
Absolutely. As we'll take a look really quick now at the weather conditions. It will be, it's just a little bit past 8 o'clock p.m. in sim time. 70-degree ambient temperature, 75-degree track temperature. A rather cool night for a summer night in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, there's a cold front going through the entirety of the Northeast right now, and it's only going to get cooler as the sun continues to set. As you know, track temperature relatively mild at 75 degrees right now. Expect that to continue to drop as the night wears on.
Yeah, absolutely. Wind also not really much of a factor. I mean, we've talked about the wind so much this season that it's really not going to play too much of a role here tonight. It doesn't look like. Talking about guys starting up near the front that we haven't seen, Josh Berry with a nice qualifying position running in 4th. He's had a couple of top 10 finishes after finishing outside or close to the top 20 over the first couple races of the season. Now the second half of the season starting to kick in. Looks like he's starting to turn it around.
He absolutely is, and it took him a couple races to get his, team in order, but he's getting there. But the one thing I'm noticing, Frank, those blue and orange Fords are starting relatively deep in this field tonight, as are all the Napa Chevys.
Yep, talking about Jake Drew starting in 15th, Tanner Reif, the new points leader, starting in 21st. The good news for Tanner Reif, though, is that Sean Woodside is not starting too much further away from him, only starting one position up. So the guys who are right now at the top of the points starting towards the back here tonight. It's going to be quite an interesting run for those guys.
Very much so. We know that those Sunrise Fords know how to get through the field. We know that the Napa Chevys and the one Toyota can make their way forward if they need to. I'm interested to see how Tony Breedinger is going to handle starting almost stone dead last tonight.
Starting the last car on the outside row. And just to close up on Josh Berry in that number 8, that exact car that you're seeing right now starting on the outside of the second row, that exact car just did some laps around North Wilkesboro these past couple of weeks with Josh Berry and with Dale Jr. in the cars. Again, I think we mentioned it last week, Dale Jr. announcing that he'll be racing at the first race back at North Wilkesboro when racing returns there next month. So as these guys now head out on track for the first of 2 warm-up laps, Tony, is the outside line going to be the advantage here tonight, or will it be the fact that you have room on that inside to be able to come down if you need to? You think that will be the key tonight?
You're going to have to throw what we call on the dirt side of racing the slider line. You're going to have to bomb it into the corner and hope that the guy on the outside isn't there when you push up.
Yeah, and we're going to be doing these at both ends of this racetrack 300 times tonight, 150 laps going back and forth here on this racetrack. Close, high line racing, Tony. It's going to be one heck of a show.
It absolutely is, and the pit entry is going to be a difficult one, as the pit entrance is on the middle of the back straightaway. So as the field works its way down the backstretch, pace car getting ready to make that hard left turn onto pit road. The only thing that's left to say, Frank, is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, because it's time to get it on at IRP. Race fans, it's showtime!
Stokes getting a very good run out at the front of the field early. Dominic Lopez getting clear side by side pretty much throughout the rest of this field, and running virtually in about a lane and a half is everybody else, and that's how close you're going to have to be in order to make a pass, especially on the inside. Boy, close racing between the 55 of Wirtz and the 11 of Herzog.
Herzog almost got into Wirtz and the 91 of Ty Majeski, as these guys are just going after each other already. I'm surprised we haven't seen a caution yet.
On board with Walt Clow, and you can see just how close you have to be to each other here in order to make time, sliding out to that wall, pushing those marbles up closer and closer to the base of that wall. And you do not have much room to the inside in order to make if you make a mistake, because in Walt Clow's case, he's got Andy Allen right there.
Absolutely, and the thing you got to keep in mind too is if you are running that low line, you're going to burn the rear tires off before you punish the front too much.
Andy Allen has broken away a little bit, so there is a little bit of a gap that has formed throughout this field, but still side by side here throughout this field, as Austin Herzog has found his way up to the outside and has gotten around Mark Wirtz. Top 8 have single filed out. Blaine Roca and Ty Majeski battling side by side. Now Roca gets clear. Now Cole Moore looking to get to the inside of the 91.
Moore trying to make his way towards the front of this piece, was not happy with his qualifying effort, as Ty Majeski gets the run off of 4. And that's what we're going to see all night long, Frank, is that second lane, you're able to carry so much more momentum on the top side.
That's why the outside is so important here. You're able to get that momentum. However, Cole Moore getting the advantage on the inside line. And Moore able to clear Majeski coming off the corner. So the top 10 have broken free. So is Ty Majeski in 11th. Side by side through the field the rest of the way. Walt Clow has made his way to the inside. Now looking to the inside of John Moore.
What we just saw Moore do was classic slider line. He bombed it going into 3, and it luckily everybody around him was mindful of what was going on. Clow's going to have to do the same if he wants to get clear of that top lane.
Up in the top of this field, only 2 positions have changed hands. Josh Berry has gotten around Jeremy Doss for third. Ty Majeski has lost the spot to Cole Moore. Here's Jake Drew going up against Walt Clow now. Not a lot of passes for position here in the early stages. We're still seeing a lot of side-by-side racing through this field.
We absolutely are. And these guys are going to have to get it settled down because there's still a ton of racing left as we're only working lap 10 of 150.
It's the first time since way back at USA International that we've only had 150 laps on the season. So just twice in the first half of this season have we seen a 150 lap race. As again, talking about ending the first half of this season and ending it quite strong here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Start of the second half of the season, Thompson next week, then Concord, our big event of the year at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 150 laps around the mile-and-a-half oval there. Bristol, Nashville. This second half is not going to be one you're going to want to miss.
And we were talking before we went on the air that second half, that's basically Murderer's Row to close out the season.
A lot of great racing at some great racetracks coming up here for the second half of this season as Sammy Smith almost putting the right rear of his car into the left front of Gio Scelzi's Napa number 16. Scelzi will make the pass on Eddie MacDonald as we're starting to get single filed out here throughout the fields, and Wayne Stokes currently leading his first laps of the season, has about a second lead over Dominic Lopez in the 24 and Josh Berry in the 8.
What a turnaround for Lopez, as he was one of the slowest ones in the practice session, has really turned that program around here in the feature, as running a very strong second, holding his line and not letting Stokes get too far ahead.
26th of 27 in practice was the 24 of Dominic Lopez. As everybody now has gotten single file, except right here at the very back of this field, that is Austin Maynard still trying to get around Parker Traves. Tony Breedinger not able to advance position. In fact, she's lost. Carson Quabble has gotten up through the field a little bit. Gio Scelzi right now, our biggest mover of the race, +4.
Yeah, and look who's one of the guys that he was able to get by.
Tanner Reif.
That is Tanner Reif, your points leader. So Reif struggling here in the early going.
Sean Woodside has not been able, he's been able to work his way up through the field a little bit. He's +3 from where he started. Last week's winner, Derek Kraus, in front of him. Woodside second place in points right now, the only multi-race winner here on this season thus far. Right now stuck in the 17th position. The train has begun. The train has fully formed now.
Yes, it has. Everybody running that rim ride line, just staying out of the marbles with the right side tires, putting the left side where the dark marks are in the corners. And, I dare say that we're not going to see anybody pit before lap 80. And if we do, it's going to be an issue.
I wouldn't believe so, as Tanner Reif for a moment looked like he was going to get under the 16 of Gio Scelzi. Eddie MacDonald running a little bit lower than Tanner Reif, as Reif once again takes a peek under the 16 of Scelzi. Does he have the momentum? Yes, he does, at least for the moment, but
no,
can't carry it off of corner exit, and now he's under pressure from Eddie MacDonald in the 17.
And that's exactly what I was mentioning when I said you're going to burn the rear tires off by running that lower line, because the guys on the outside, they're not having to get into the throttle as aggressively on that top lane because they don't have to get out of it as aggressively. As MacDonald makes the move on the outside, Reif goes back another spot.
It's one of the interesting characteristics about this track, watching the Xfinity cars and the trucks here as I was growing up. Look at the backstretch wall and just how low that backstretch wall sits on these cars. It's pretty much just the height of the front fenders as we'll stay on board here with Eddie MacDonald as we catch up to it. That is a very low wall with no catch fence. That was one thing that always caught my eye watching the support series racing here.
Well, the scary thing is this track was originally built for USAC to use in the midget, the sprint car, and the Silver Crown series. So open wheel racing is what this track was originally built for, and I'll tell you, there was more than one driver that's put one out of the park here at IRP.
I would definitely believe that, as Jeremy Doss trying to hold on from Corey Heim. Heim started 5th. That's where he currently runs.
Heim's going to have to go to the slider line if he's going to want to make any headway right now, as Doss holding him off quite successfully, as Huddleston running in the top 10. We don't normally talk about Trevor that much, and he's got a strong run going tonight so far.
He absolutely does, sitting in that 6th position right now behind these two. Wayne Stokes has gotten out to about a 2-second lead over Dominic Lopez. Josh Berry has not gotten away from that number 24 of Lopez, and then it's about another 1.5 seconds back before we get to this group right here, which we were just watching. As boy, Corey Heim all over the back of Jeremy Doss. It's just that inside line. It's so hard to maintain the run coming out of the corner as Heim has to give up position again.
Doss was pinching down on Heim coming off of 4 to not let Heim get any sort of run off. And now Heim is in deep as the 50 is working his outside right now. Still door to door as we're 28 laps into this piece already.
Fortunately, though, for Heim, he's able to get back up in line without losing position. There's the 11 of Austin Herzog trying to work his way on Trevor Huddleston. Both of these two really peaked at the beginning of the season. Speaking of Huddleston and Herzog, Huddleston got the first pole of the season at the Bull Ring at Las Vegas. Herzog finished 2nd that race. Neither one of them really has done anything of note since then, as Blaine Roca looks to take position away from Cole Moore in the 99.
I think you had that backwards.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Moore. It's one of the better runs, though, on the inside line that we've seen.
It is, but you're going to see Roca able to really pull on him coming down the front chute here, and it's going to open the door for Ty Majeski to get up there.
It's that little pinch, the way these guys come down out of the corner, come out of 4, that's really forcing these guys to lay off, as Majeski now coming under fire from John Moore. Close action, but not a lot of movement, not too much movement here throughout this field. As Eddie MacDonald and Derek Griffith battling. This is for 22nd between these two. Griffith looking to get position.
Using that high side to defend quite effectively. Pinches down on MacDonald a little bit through 3 and 4. And MacDonald tries to get the run, but Huddleston able to just pull it.
It's Griffith on the outside there.
Griffith, I'm sorry. Why did I say Huddleston? I don't know.
Tanner Reif looking to try to make a move on Gio Scelzi as well, as Griffith's still battling with the 17, and MacDonald's able to get clear but not close the door. As Griffith now has completely lost position.
And he has at that. MacDonald gets the clear, but he doesn't go up yet.
Not quite.
And the one thing I did just notice, and I think you'll get a kick out of this, Ty Majeski is in a Moore sandwich right now.
Yes, he is. Cole Moore ahead, John Moore behind, Corey Heim. One thing I'm sure he's not getting a kick out of right now is that he is getting freight trained on the outside line. Was running in 5th a moment ago. He's gotten passed by Huddleston, gotten passed by Austin Herzog, now battling with Mark Wirtz, and there is still a good amount of cars in this line that he's going to have to fend with.
As Moore drops down to get some clean air to the front radiator of that 99. as Heim still slugging it out with the 55, and good grief.
It's been quite close all race long.
Tempers are going to flare before too much longer.
Yeah, they will, and especially as we're expecting pit stops around laps 70, 80, right around there is when we're expecting these guys to come in. Ty Majeski there as well. Jump on board here with Cole Moore. Riding on board with him as he tries to put Corey Heim behind him. Blaine Roca has done. Oh, there goes Corey Heim. Losing that position, and it's all the exit of 4 is where Heim is losing ground.
He loses a little coming off of 2 as well. And everybody's trying to tiptoe down the back straightaway. There is no safer barrier on that concrete retaining wall. So this is a little bit different than a lot of the tracks we're going to go to, as you do see the safer barrier in the corners, but those front and backstretch walls, those are solid concrete, and you really don't want to get into them.
There's a big wiggle there that Corey Heim had. Looked like he could have cleared Majeski. Just had that little wiggle of the back end coming out of turn 4, and that put him almost behind Ty Majeski, looking to get into the top 10, and will do just that, as now John Moore is next to pass Corey Heim.
Heim would almost be better off just stepping on the brakes, jumping in behind the 22, and fend off that the Sunrise Ford number 6 that's coming up on him very quickly.
I was going to say, he does have a little bit of a reprieve coming up with that gap between the 22 and the 6, and I think you're right. It might be better to cut bait while you still can, because Jake Drew is coming, even though last week's winner Derek Kraus is looking to put a little bit of a move on him.
Kraus was going to the low side down the back straightaway last lap to try to get some clean air to the radiator. There you see Kraus goes to the inside again, trying to get some clean air to the front, trying to get some clean air to the radiator, and make sure that engine is going to last all 150 laps here tonight at IRP.
Eddie MacDonald and Tanner Reif side by side. MacDonald's gotten close to completing this pass on several different occasions, not on this one though. But he has gotten quite close a couple of times. So we'll take a look back up out in front. There is Wayne Stokes. Took the pole, has led every single lap thus far here today. A 3-second lead on Dominic Lopez and Josh Berry as these two continue to play follow the leader. Jeremy Doss now coming under a little bit of pressure from Trevor Huddleston.
Huddleston's got to keep his eye on the rearview mirror as Herzog getting a good run down the backstretch as Moore looks to the inside of Wirtz coming down the front chute, thinks better of it. Now Roca pressures the inside of Moore going into 1 and 2.
Roca thought he may have had a run with the way Moore had to get out of that corner. And this side-by-side running here for Corey Heim has actually not only has brought Jake Drew and company up to that group, but it's also broken those two away from Majeski. So if Heim can get a little bit of a run, he could possibly get out in front of that 27.
As of right now, it doesn't look like he's able to get the clear, especially with what happens coming off of 4. You get so much of a run coming off of 4 that there's no way Heim can get clear. He's got to completely bomb it and go in over his head going into 3 if he's going to get that move done.
Just about had the ability to, going into turn 1, to slot in behind the 27, but being a racer, decided to take the move on the outside and almost had him clear there, but Moore again with that run on the high side, able to maintain.
Heim's going to have to get this done quick because you're to the point of the race where you've pretty much worn all the goodie off the tire. And what I mean by that is all the good grip is starting to go south right now. And you really have to be up on the wheels. Who was that just went pit side?
That was Dominic Lopez pitting from second.
Interesting.
So he might be going two-stop here. We are at the third mark right now. Wayne Stokes coming in as well. So Stokes pits from the lead. That gives Josh Berry the race lead.
Are they short pitting on fuel tonight?
It's, like I said, we're at the 1/3 mark right now, so it'd be pit stops here and at lap 100. Jeremy Doss coming in, Cole Moore coming in as well.
An interesting call. I wasn't expecting to see anybody even flinch to come pit side until about lap 75.
Yeah, that would have been the halfway point. Here, Josh Berry comes off of turn 2 low, so he's coming in, surrendering the race lead. That will give the roce lead up to Trevor Huddleston. So Huddleston,
Wirtz, Roca, and Majeski running in your top 5 as they currently sit.
and with that pit stop coming out when he did, Dominic Lopez has undercut and gotten that 3 seconds back to take the lead away from Wayne Stokes. This is effective race lead right here.
Was it a 4-tire stop for all of them?
Yes. 26 seconds for Lopez, 28.5 for Wayne Stokes, there's the loss right there.
There you go.
Trevor Huddleston looks like he might be coming in. Blaine Roca and Sean Woodside almost colliding. And that's what you were saying. It's a tricky pit road because pit exit merges into pit entry. That was the 11 of Austin Herzog, and caution number 1 has come out.
Second week in a row that we've seen the dreaded yellow flag come out.
And that was for Austin Herzog. We'll take a look and see what happened with him. I think it might have been a collision between coming on and off of pit road. There he is already off track. Well, you see the left front. He's definitely gotten into something.
Yeah, that's not attached.
Yeah, no, that's
a wall, sir. You can't drive through a wall.
it's not advisable, at least. This happened not long after the one coming out of pit road. There's Herzog coming in. Oh, he overshot pit entry and hit the wall.
Ooh. And hit those steel water barrels at the end of the concrete, completely shearing the left front suspension off of the 11. That's game over right there.
Yeah, it is, and we saw in practice too, guys really trying to get into pit road hard, and it looks like he may have just made a late decision, clipped the grass and clipped the barrels.
Very unfortunate because he had a strong run going.
Absolutely did.
Well, it's time for the good news. The field's going to be bunched back up on the restart. Here's the bad news. A lot of drivers just got caught a lap down.
Yes, they did. Josh Berry right now, your current race leader, Trevor Huddleston, who came into pit under this caution, currently running in second, and from last to third, Tony Breedinger catches the caution at the perfect time. She is up in third, Austin Maynard in fourth. Corey Heim, we saw him falling back. He's up in fifth. And a lot of these guys, all of these guys currently running in front of Josh Berry will be getting a wave around here momentarily, including the man who was leading the race, Wayne Stokes, Dominic Lopez also. Well, that's a long line waiting to get laps back.
That is a hell of a conga line.
That is led by...
Go ahead.
That's led by Sean Woodside. So from Woodside all the way down the line, all the way up to Josh Berry, we'll be getting wave arounds here. A lot of these guys coming in As a matter of fact, the only 4, as I believe, Josh Berry has fallen to the back of this line. Berry might have been the free pass car.
There you go.
Because now it's Huddleston, Breedinger, and Maynard that are all.
What?
I guess we're going. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
there
here
we
they
go.
go. Yeah, I was going to
Okay.
say. So Huddleston, Maynard, and Berry went down to the inside because that's where they're going to be on the restart. As Blaine Roca and the rest of the field are going to be up to pace.
This field.
Yep, they are going to be up to pace.
And they are going to be trailing badly the entire length of the front straightaway.
About
Flagman
8
never
seconds.
should have let the green come out.
Yeah. I would agree with that. As Austin Maynard, you see a lot of front end damage on that number 29.
He's giving the chrome horn to somebody. No, there's not a ton of damage on there. I mean, there's a very, very slight wow in the gap between the right front fender and the hood, but that's not bad. We've seen much worse.
Yeah, I would agree. So there is a 7-second gap, in closing. It was 7.5 when the green came out. And I think what's going to happen here, right or wrong, the caution is going to come out again, and that is going to allow the rest of the field to catch back up.
Fair enough.
Yeah, because Tony, as you said,
That green flag never should have come back out.
yes, exactly. At least in that spot. And that will also benefit Sean Woodside because he will get one of his multiple laps back. And he will be back on the lead lap now, leaving Carson Quapple the only driver not on the lead lap.
Did Woodside get popped for speeding on? Is that what happened?
No. Doesn't look like it. So caution number 2.
So
coming out
Quapple
as a
going to be the only
courtesy.
one. Quapple going to be the only one still running that's going to be scored as one lap down.
Yes.
So he's the only car on track that's hoping another caution comes out.
Must have gotten caught right at the worst possible time, as there goes Woodside to get his lap back. So this caution coming out more as a courtesy. And with that, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're watching the end of the first half, round number 8 of the Super Late Model AI series right here on ESPN. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the Left Coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Getting set to go back to green flag racing after the courtesy caution that came out, after the legitimate caution that came out. Trevor Huddleston, Tony Breedinger still your front row. Corey Heim was able to get 2 spots during that short little stint. Josh Berry there as well. Guys are off and going again. Guys and girl going off again. Green flag is back out.
And as you can see, restart rule not in effect here tonight at IRP. This track not set up for that coding yet. As
it should, however, be available in a couple of weeks' time when we go to Charlotte and then Bristol right after that. As boy, Corey, that was Dominic Lopez who really got hurt by that caution. He would have been the race leader coming out of that pit cycle. Now down in 8th.
Yeah, definitely not a good time as, that really shook things up as Stokes almost gets into, I believe that was Reif who was outside.
Trying to find him. There he is, running 13th position.
No, that was the 6th,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's Drew in the 6. It's on the outside of him, and you just see how manic and hectic this racing is and how close side by side these guys are as the 99 and the 19 almost collide.
And you know as well as I do that, those guys have team rules of try not to kill each other. But if you do end up killing each other, make sure it's a SportsCenter highlight for the next year.
Race, don't wreck.
You're not wrong.
So Trevor Huddleston has gotten out to a half a second lead. Tony Breedinger's flying solo. Josh Berry didn't really lose anything. He's still in 3rd, which is where he was prior to the initial pit stop. Same with Corey Heim. He's actually gained. He's up in 4th as Josh Berry takes a peek to the inside of Tony Breedinger.
He was thinking about it. Just wasn't close enough to really make it go. How about Gio Selzy?
I was just going to say, he's, of the 3 McAnally cars running in this series, he has been by far and away the lowest performing of the 3, and that would count in the point standings as well. Currently the highest performing at the moment as, big incident here towards the back as the caution comes out. Jake Drew appears to be involved in the 6. Oh yeah, that's a big stop.
Holy cow. Both of the Sunrise Fords involved in that one.
Tanner Reif was under him.
Good grief. What the heck just happened?
The 12 of Griffith getting through. That's Sammy Smith in the 51.
What on earth did we just see?
We saw a pile up is what we saw quite literally.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
As this is MacDonald. Oh, MacDonald thought he was clear and shot the 6 up into the outside wall.
Boy.
And just everybody pile in.
12 almost just went over.
So the 51 sitting there, same angle.
Good grief.
Wow. But that was, that started with the 17 of Eddie MacDonald.
Well, he was doing what he had to do to keep the 6, behind him. Just pinched up coming off a 4, tried to block that run, and unfortunately the 6 tried to give him room, not realizing he was that close to that concrete wall.
Take a look. This will be on board of Derek Griffith. This should be a nice little shot here.
For everybody except Derek.
Ooh. Just see, and then he gets sent from behind.
Unreal.
On board Tanner Reif. Points leader. Yep. There you go.
There goes the engine.
So our third caution of the day coming out in rather quick succession, and that was a quite a gnarly little incident there. Eddie MacDonald.
That's what happens when you turn an angry pack of hornets loose.
It would have been a 9-car incident. Eddie MacDonald, Jake Drew, Derek Kraus, Tanner Reif, Derek Griffith, Mark Wirtz, Sammy Smith, Parker Traves, and Carson Quapple all involved right there. Drew out, Reif out. Kraus not quite done yet. Derek Kraus coming back onto the racetrack. Mark Wirtz is back on track. It's like everyone's getting their cars repaired, and to be fair, it didn't look like anyone got it too bad that they'd be out of this race. I think the guy who got it worse was probably the 6 of Drew, who hit that outside wall a ton and had just missed that safer barrier to hit that concrete.
And he kind of got a little lucky there. Because unfortunately, safer barriers have been just shooting people across the track as of late.
And the last car, of all the guys that were involved in that incident, the last car on pit road is the 6 of Jake Drew. So we are back now, underway, 70 laps to go here from Lucas Oil Raceway as Trevor Huddleston gets out to another big lead. Tony Breedinger tries to follow. Corey Heim trying to take a spot away from Josh Berry. He will. Corey Heim up to third.
I think this is the first time Heim's been able to get to the outside all night.
Yeah, he's been trapped on that inside. Boy, Blaine Roca and Andy Allen coming very close to each other.
Allen looking to the inside of the 8 as MacDonald works the inside of Moore, and that's Gio Scelzi right in front of him.
Scelzi to the inside of Jeremy Doss in the 75.
Contact.
Yep, that was contact between the 92 and 99. Allows Colby Howard at the 81 to get up to the outside of Wayne Stokes.
That's Moore in the Napa Chevy, works in the inside of the Napa Toyota of Gio Scelzi on the inside. And now there you go.
Cole Moore has been the more consistent of the 3 McAnally cars. Scelzi the least. 2 of the 3 McAnally cars have found victory lane this year. Cole Moore, winner at South Boston. Derek Kraus, the winner last week at Langley.
In fact, I do want to point out that if you look just behind the grandstand outside of turn 1, you'll see another grandstand pointing the other way. That's the site of the drag strip where Gio Scelzi's father, Gary, won in both Top Fuel and in the funny car ranks in the NHRA, won the U.S. Nationals in different years, not the same year, but one of the only drivers that can lay claim to winning a U.S. National trophy in both Top Fuel and in funny car.
Indianapolis Motor Speedway, not that far away from here either.
About a half hour, 45-minute drive in good traffic.
Yeah, so
race day, forget it. You're not making it in under 2 hours.
Yeah. John Moore looks to the inside of Ty Majeski. Wayne Stokes trying to push his way through on the bottom. Moore trying to help the 92. But boy, that you just get such a slingshot of momentum coming off of turn 2, coming off of turn 4.
Wayne Stokes is going to have to go to his hockey roots to get by Majewski. He's going to have to put a shoulder into him.
The old Eddie MacDonald body check that we just saw.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Preferably do it a little bit cleaner than that, but hey.
All's fair in love and racing.
2 cautions for incident here if you're just joining us. First caution came out on lap 53 for Austin Herzog, who overshot pit entry and then ran into the pit wall. Second caution came out as a courtesy because 95% of the field was not caught up to the leaders when the green flag came out after wave arounds. And then the third caution of the race, that incident that we just alluded to, a 10-car pileup coming out of turn 4, triggered when the 17 of MacDonald gave a little tail slap to the 6 of Jake Drew, who still has not returned onto the racetrack from pit road.
Reedinger getting some pressure from her teammate right now, as here comes the 8 trying to make something happen on the low side.
It's been a very nice run for Josh Berry today as Blaine Roca works to the outside of Andy Allen. Allen, another guy that we saw towards the back of the field earlier on this season, starting to make his way up towards the front. Same with Josh Berry in that 8.
Corey Heim just got caught.
He did.
With his pants down.
Caught looking, trying to get to the inside of Tony Breedinger.
And then opened the door wide open for the 8. Had the clear, able to get up. Just for some reason, you know, these AI cars don't like to change lanes.
He's insistent on keeping that inside line. They're trying to work that inside line. Austin Maynard, I believe, who's sitting stone dead last in points right now. Here's Maynard in the 29. This will be a nice little boost for him as Blaine Roca had a big moment. Now going through the middle. Roca may have made some contact with the outside wall. Yes, he has.
Oh, he definitely has. As why didn't he go pit side?
I'm not sure.
Oh no.
Well, it's
he's going to park. He's going to park on the front stretch.
No, he's still going with it. Well, in any event, he's well and safely off of the racing line, so we'll stay green. Austin Maynard coming into pit road as well. This might be
green
pit stop
flag
time.
pit stops.
It might be pit stop time for Maynard, but for Roca, no. Yeah, Roca had an issue.
Yeah, Roca definitely hit something.
Try to see.
Well, now hold on. There's damage on Maynard's car too.
Well, Maynard, we've seen that damage already. We'll try to see what happened as Blaine Roca hits pit road. Here's the 98. Oh, he got caught on that outside. It happened right there.
Yep.
It's a lot of damage on that right side.
And the fact that the field was able to split him safely like they did.
Incredible. Here it is, coming just door to door with Heim.
And Heim didn't get into him.
Yeah, no, it's...
That was on Roca.
Yeah, just the way Roca bounced back off. And Maynard, it didn't look like he hit him, so that was Maynard. Might just be coming in for that front end damage as Trevor Huddleston continues to walk away. Is Tony Breedinger now coming under fire from Corey Heim yet again? We picked up right where we left off here with this group, just sans Blaine Roca.
50 laps to go in this one, as quite a few of the cars that were in that little melee still on pit road. Herzog finally out though in the 11. Did get that suspension arm fixed.
Herzog's been out for a little while. Jake Drew still in pit road. Colby Howard comes down pit road. So does Sean Woodside. Colby Howard looks like he's got a little bit of right front damage. Woodside looks fine. So we'll go back to the battle for third as once again Corey Heim has been dummied by Josh Berry, as now Berry has the outside line on him.
Berry's going to have to get it sorted out pretty quick because that peloton is catching them.
Absolutely. Led by Jeremy Doss. Cole Moore
Not
does
for
get
much longer.
Cole Moore looking like he wants a bit of that lead. We are inside of 50 laps to go. It's all kicking off here in the middle third of this race at Lucas Oil Raceway. Currently, Trevor Huddleston leads a 2-second gap over Tony Breedinger, Josh Berry, Andy Allen, and Corey Heim. Will be back to Indianapolis right after this. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field worked its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Oh, they're wrecking! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Back here at Lucas Oil Raceway Park as the green flag pit cycle has begun. Tony Breedinger we saw come down pit road. Josh Berry, Andy Allen, Wayne Stokes all down pit road now. Here comes Trevor Huddleston, Corey Heim down pit road as well. See if everyone can make it onto pit road safely this time.
Well, only time will tell as we do see that green flag pit stop starting to happen. But, still side-by-side racing throughout the entirety of this field tonight. And some guys that needed to get their seasons turned around here aren't having it happen. Jake Drew was 29 laps down.
Yeah, that was still with the incident that brought out the second caution. Here comes Jeremy Doss into pit road. Walt Cloud, Gio Scelzi in pit road now. That will hand the lead of the race over to the woman who's pit first. Tony Breedinger will come across the line here in just a moment, and she will take over the race lead. Now, Derek Griffith currently being shown in second. He has not pit yet, and he is coming in now. So it will be Breedinger, Lopez, Heim, your top three here momentarily, as Breedinger now passes Jeremy Doss to take over the race lead.
Breedinger on a good run here tonight as MacDonald comes out of the pits. And you're going to see what the difference between new and old tires looks like right here.
Breedinger came in on lap 108. MacDonald here on 111, so it's not too ridiculous. There is the battle for second. Dominic Lopez trying to get under Sean Woodside. Woodside not for position with these guys, as now Corey Heim will take to the inside. Cole Moore right there as well. Boy, as Andy Allen almost had a big moment there with Tanner Reif. Reif not for position. Tanner down in 16th.
Tanner not having a good run of it here in Indiana, as Moore finally getting by the 45. And, I mean, these guys are just jumbled up right now, Frank.
Huddleston, after being the last one in the top 10 to come into pit, has from the race lead, has fallen from the race lead to 7th with the undercut. Lopez and Heim now going at it for second. We've seen a couple
Lopez
of
doing what he needs to do.
Yeah, we've seen a couple incidents coming out of turn 4 already. It kind of takes your breath away when you see those guys getting that close coming out of 4.
Yeah, it's definitely some white knuckle moments. But Moore is on a good recovery drive right now.
Yeah, absolutely, and so is Dominic Lopez, to be fair. Now, Lopez was running in second as Moore with a big dive to the inside. Lopez, we saw him, he was leading the race, came into pit from the race lead when the caution came out, or came into pit from second when the first caution came out, had gotten around Wayne Stokes to take over what would have been the race lead. Coming out of that original pit cycle, found himself at about 13th and is now back up to second. So a very good run for the 24 of Lopez.
As Moore working the outside of Heim right now, trying to get that spot rustled away from him. Heim hanging in there on the low side. Moore able to make it stick and gets the run off of 4, as we've been seeing all night long.
Speaking of Wayne Stokes, the aforementioned Wayne Stokes, a little bit of nose damage on that number 92, right at the splitter in the middle of the bumper. Stokes trying to get back into the top 10 now after leading the first third of this race all the way to the first pit stop. Trying to get around John Moore on that inside line. Can't quite do it to try to get back in the top 10.
Trying to make it happen right now. As Stokes and Moore go side by side, coming down the Kroger back straightaway here at IRP, working lap 123 of 50 for round number 8 of the Super Late Model AI Series. Oh, hang on to her, son.
92 did catch some contact with the 27, but fortunately it was deep enough in the corner where it didn't really matter. Here comes Jeremy Doss looking to the inside.
See a little bit of right side damage on Stokes' 92. As Doss trying to make it stick. Second lane able to hold court, as here comes the 11. Multiple laps down, but still slugging it out with these guys.
Beating and banging has proceeded here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Lights, the sun's starting to go down here a little bit as well. As we see the battle for second, these guys are reeling in Tony Breedinger. They have 25 laps to catch her. And these guys are consistently just a little bit quicker than Breedinger. The question is going to be, they may be able to catch her. Will they be able to pass her?
Well, you know as well as I do that catching someone is one thing. Passing them and passing them cleanly is a completely different skill set. That a lot of these guys are acting like a bull in a china shop right now.
This last couple of weeks have been a little bit more incident-filled, and that right there was the first lap in a little while that Breedinger was actually quicker than Dominic Lopez. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that Blaine Rocca was battling with Lopez. But now, that was sarcasm, by the way.
No, I got you.
Corey Heim looking to the outside now of Cole Moore, looking for third. As Moore looks to the inside for Lopez for second. Not going to do it.
Not going to do it. As Moore goes side by side with Heim. Heim on the top side, Moore on the low side. Heim able to get the momentum coming off of 4. He's going to follow Lopez into 1.
Lopez is not really in much of consequence right now. Tony Breedinger, however, is, as Blaine Roca looks to the inside trying to get his lap back the hard way. And that is severely holding her up.
Yeah, absolutely. She can't get that turn in to initiate. So she's letting Roca go, going to slide in behind him. But that has let Lopez close the gap.
0.4 of a second now. And this little group right here goes all the way back to 9th at Gio Scelzi. So it's not just 1 or 2 spots she stands to lose if she gives this up here. It's about 10 that she stands to lose. All of those cars in picture, except for the bright blue number 55 of Mark Wirtz, is 4th position.
Scary considering that, we had quite a bit of separation going into the first round of pit stops, and then with that caution coming out, that really stacked the field back up. 19 to go.
Tony Breedinger has stepped on the podium twice this season. Finished second back at USA International and got a 3rd place finish at Wilkesboro. She's also been the points leader from time to time this season as well.
Now, the 2 tracks that she's done well on this season, what do they have in common?
Bigger and flatter.
Bingo. And what is IRP?
Small and high banked.
Bigger and flatter.
Oh, that's next week at Thompson. I'm sorry. Bigger, smaller, and high banked.
That's Thompson. This is a relatively flat track with, she's not afraid to put it up on the top lane. And we saw that at South Boston too, and I guarantee you we're going to see it at Bristol in 2 weeks.
She cannot give that top lane up if she wants to take this win. Cole Moore and Corey Heim battling side by side behind Dominic Lopez again. Mark Wirtz again on fresher tires after being in pit road for damage repair for 9 minutes. Starting to work his way through this pack as now he'll get to the outside of Corey Heim. Dominic Lopez now facing a little bit of a confrontation with Cole Moore. Again, that 55 not for position. Everybody else in this group is.
Yeah, the 55 is multiple laps down right now, and he's kind of hemmed in as he's got Lopez in front of him, Heim behind him, and Moore to his inside. Should get the clear coming off 4 this time on Moore anyways, and that could open the door for Heim to get back by Moore.
This is what we wanted out of the AI series, was to see these guys and girl racing as much as you possibly can, as close as you can on tracks that we don't usually see, at tracks that we're not normally broadcasting at. I don't think it gets any better than with 13 laps to go, 9 different drivers, all within a second and a half, going for a race win.
Absolutely, and the 55 getting by Breedinger, that is holding her up immensely.
It's the fresher tires for the 55, though, as Corey Heim now looking for second place under Dominic Lopez is going to be looking for the lead here momentarily if Tony Breedinger's not careful.
Teammates running door to door right now at the front of this piece. It's Breedinger on the high side, Heim on the low side as they haul it into 3 and 4. One more time, it'll be 10 to go at the stripe. Breedinger and Heim slugging it out for this victory, and Dominic Lopez right there with him.
Cole Moore there as well. He's been a fixture up at the front of this field here tonight. Corey Heim finally has made that inside line work. It took him 140 laps, but he's finally making ground down there as he is now even in nosing ahead of Tony Breedinger for the race lead with 9 to go.
Breedinger able to get it away from Heim. Heim, though, gets the clear, throws the slider line, pitches up, throws the block on Breedinger. Breedinger not going to be happy with her teammate, as that's going to open the door for more to get to her.
It's a Venturini 1-2 right now as Corey Heim finally makes that inside line work to take over the race lead. Cole Moore right there as well as Breedinger looking to keep from losing that second position. She might have just done. No, still has a little bit of momentum.
He's going to have to send it just as hard as Moore is right now. The question is, do either of them really have tire left or enough tire to get it done, as they were deadlocked at the stripe?
Corey Heim now all of a sudden getting away. Heim looking for his first win of the season. As Cole Moore still side by side with Breedinger.
He gets the clear off of 4, though. Dominic Lopez had to have been watching that. The question is, does he have enough laps to get it done?
Lopez now to the inside of Breedinger. He's been stuck behind Breedinger for the last couple of laps now as Breedinger continues her free fall. Remember, she qualified in 26th position for this race, second to last, and found herself with 10 laps to go leading this thing. Solid finish for her nonetheless.
Lopez on the low side, Breedinger on the top side. That is your battle for the final step of the podium.
Yes,
Breedinger has it. Lopez wants it.
Breedinger looking for her third podium of the season. Lopez looking for his second. Andy Allen, Josh Berry looking for their first.
Thought Andy Allen had a win on the season.
No, Andy Allen does not.
Oh, that's right. He got taken out. My bad. Breedinger right now with a little bit of breathing room coming through 3 and 4 as Allen gets to the outside of Lopez.
Got clear.
Lopez did not want to see that happen.
Got clear. That's exactly what she needed. This is third all the way to 9th. Right here in picture, Corey Heim losing a little bit of ground to Cole Moore. Both of them came into pit on lap 111. 2 laps to go.
Popsicle sticks in the air as we are watching Heim right now and Moore as they run in stem to stern. Moore is going to have one final shot at him as we are racing back to checkers.
Corey Heim looking for his first win of the season. He sat on the podium a couple of times. Cole Moore has won twice. Cole Moore looking for his third win of the season. Has closed the gap quite significantly, but he is not going to have enough time coming out of turn number 4. Corey Heim closes out the first half of the season with a win here at Lucas Oil Raceway. Whew.
Strong run for Heim. Strong run for Moore. Amazing run for Breedinger.
Corey Heim,
as you mentioned, she started next to Stone dead last.
26th to 3rd for Breedinger, and was able to catch up and was able to get clear of Dominic Lopez and pull away at the last gasp there at the end. Top
Strongly
9
done.
all in your picture. Wow.
Absolutely. Very strong run. This is something that Heim needed. Corey hasn't had the strong runs, hasn't had the finishes as of late. He's had strong runs, but he finally proved tonight that he knows how to close it out.
Finished 3rd at Lanier. Took the pole at Wilkesboro. Finished 2nd at Langley last week with a hard charge on Derek Kraus at the end. And now he will take his first win of the season. For Cole Moore,
just amazing for Heim. You got to really feel for the guy. He's had so many struggles early on in the first half of this season. Closing out the first half of the season here tonight with a win at IRP. And, I mean, this is some of the hallowed grounds that we are going to be visiting this season. As, there's so much history that has come through here. You figure AJ has run here. The Andrettis have all run here. Tony Stewart cut his teeth here. Jeff Gordon got his start on pavement here. Some of the all-time greats that are first ballot Hall of Famers in NASCAR started here at IRP in open wheel racing. And now Corey Heim can put his name on the list of people that have won at Lucas Oil Raceway.
Been an absolutely incredible night here. The middle portion of the race got a little bit hairy, just in the same way that it did earlier on at
Langley.
In Langley last week. But still a great race here. Not a lot of passing per se, but it's still a lot of close side-by-side action here. And this, I think, might have been the calm before the storm going into a small, tight little racetrack like Thompson next week.
Thompson, Connecticut is one of those tracks that you either love or you hate. I happen to love it. Some of the best racing I've ever seen, especially in pavement modifieds and SK modifieds, Thompson is the track.
It is an absolutely incredible time, and I believe will be our first broadcast from the Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park, which has been on the service for an incredibly long time. Just again, a track that does not get a lot of love. So that is next week. Coming up here on ESBN. As far as the remainder of this week goes, last week we saw the end of the season for the ISNF Cup Series, so they will be off this week. Looking at the upcoming schedule here for the network coming up this weekend, it will be the Quaker State 200 for Sunday Night NASCAR at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and that will be the first broadcast that we will ever do from the newly resurfaced and reconfigured Atlanta Motor Speedway, so you are not going to want to miss that coming up this Sunday night. On Monday, the CleanRacing.net Truck Series will run round number 2 at the Nashville Super Speedway, and then we have our triple header Tuesday back again. Coming up this Tuesday, the Night Shift Racing League at 11:55 a.m. They will run their penultimate race of the season from Watkins Glen. The season opener for the Rick Motec Cup Series will be at Daytona International Speedway. That broadcast will kick off at 8:40 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the typical nightcap will be the Western States Racing League. They will be at Dover Motor Speedway coming up at 10:50 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the Tuesday after this, the 19th, we got a lot of racing. We'll have 4 broadcasts coming up on Tuesday night starting in 2 weeks' time.
We actually have a doubleheader on Sunday, Frank.
Oh, what is the second race on Sunday?
The first race on Sunday will be the Thunderclap Stock Car iRacing Series.
Oh, yes,
Case
that's right.
Cracker 200.
Yes, the Case Cracker 200. How could I have forgotten that? It wasn't on the schedule.
That race being brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving, by the way.
Yep, absolutely. So we have plenty of racing coming up as the summer is starting to get into the mix. We do have some series ending, but we have even more series that are coming back and getting ready to go. Western States came back this past week. The Rick Motec Cup Series returns this upcoming Tuesday, so a lot of things coming back. We're going to get very, very busy again here on ESPN. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and we will see you next week for the start of the second half of the season from Thompson. Good night, everybody.